This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Go, yeah. Okay. Part 6. In the siege of Beirut, where Yasser Arafat was hiding, there was an opportunity for the Israeli army to corner the city, to surround the city on all four sides. And Rav Goren developed a new element of the theology of the ethics of war based on the comments of the Rambam in Hilchos Malachim, Perek Vav, Halacha Zayin. And I might need some English historians here to summon a battle cry in the war against Dover. Do you remember this? I might need some help. Okay. Halacha Zayin. Check it out. Kishetzorin Alir. We're on page 35. Page 35. We'll get a refund. Kishetzorin Alir. When you set siege to a city, L'tafsa. Ein makifin oisa me'arba ruchaiseha. You cannot surround it on all four sides. Ela mishalosh ruchaiseha. Only on three sides. Umanichem makam levrayach. You always have to give an opportunity for the enemy to run. Ulchol mi sharaisel himaled al nafshay, and anybody who wants to escape. There's a mistake. The next page should be a continuation. It's a double. Basically, the Rambam concludes, Mipi Hashmu Alamdu, we have a tradition that by the war of Midian it says, Kasher Tziva Hashem Es Moshe, and we don't know what Kasher Tziva Hashem Es Moshe. It says, take a look at page 40, Vayitzba'u Al Midian, Pasuk Zayin, Perek Lamed Aleph, Pasuk Zayin, they waged war against Midian, Kasher Tziva Hashem Es Moshe, Vayahargu Kol Zachar. What does it mean they waged war? Kasher Tziva Hashem Es Moshe. The Rambam interprets it, Kasher Tziva Hashem Es Moshe, that you never surround the city on four sides, you always give safe corridor for escape. Now, is that a logical way to wage war? You always give... Yeah, you could fight a war, but you always give them a chance to run away. What's the logic of that? What's the basis of that? What does the Rambam mean, mipi hashmua? So there's a tshuva of the Chacham Tzvi. Chacham Tzvi on page 37, Shaila Chavav. He talks about various restrictions and guidelines and limitations of what one is allowed to do against the enemy. Let's say, for example, take a look on the second column on the fourth line. Al Orei Hanachriim, against the city of Gentiles, Nitztavinu la'aniach ruach achas mebli matzar. You have to leave one side, not in siege. L'chol mi sheyirtze limad anafshe, to anyone who wants to escape. Kamay shekasav Rambam in Hilchos Malachim, Parak Shishi Din Zayin. V'chein, there is a command when you approach a city to wage war. V'karasei la l'shalom. Even animals who can't talk were nitztave on sar balei chayim. Even plants were commanded loisashchas as eitzah. Why? Says Rabbi Yaakov Emden, it's not for the sake of the enemy. We don't allow the enemy to run for their benefit. We allow the enemy to run for our benefit. Why? Einoi bavur ha'pa'ol ela bavurenu anachnu ha'poyalem. It's for our benefit. Liknois benavshenu deois amitios, in order for us to acquire proper attitudes, umidois toivos, and good character, v'yashros l'zachoisenu l'toivlanu v'zabar ma'oi. The rationale of the Rambam of safe corridor is for the benefit of the character of Klal Yisrael, not the benefit of the outcome of the nations of the world. And therefore, in the war of Beirut, Rav Shlomo Goren argued vehemently that they cannot surround the city on four sides based on this Rambam. He felt this Rambam was an imperative in the ethics of halachic warfare. And when they indeed left an open corridor, Rav Goren was very proud that this was a great Kiddush Hashem. Unfortunately, those terrorists escaped, and very soon after, they committed terrible atrocities and terrorist attacks. So, the question really is this safe corridor an absolute gezeras hakosov? That these are the guidelines of war under all circumstances, even potentially putting our own life in danger? Or is it just a recommendation of midos v'derech eretz, but certainly not to put Jewish life at risk because of it? You're not going to find in the Mishnah Brura a halachic conclusion of how to apply the rule of fourth side open. Now I'm remembering in the war against Dover, the invading army, the captain and the general put the ships on fire. And they turned around in the harbor and they saw their ships were on fire. And the general said, "Fight until you die." You know about this? That's how they won the war. Which war? What war? It's beyond the scope of this shir. And that's a completely different logic. Take a look in the Torah Tamima in page 40. This will be the conclusion of part 6. You know, the Rambam paskins that you have to leave a fourth side open. Reb Nassan, you're in the shir here. Okay, I'm making sure you're listening. On the pasuk, Perek Lamed Aleph, pasuk Zayin, Vayitzbu al Midyan kasher tziva Hashem es Moshe, and Vayitzbu, they wage war against Midyan like Hashem commanded Moshe. What does that mean, like Hashem commanded Moshe? The Chachamim say, look in the Sifra, quote in the Torah Tamima, Hikifua midaru chayseha. They surrounded it on four sides. Rab Nassan Omer, Nasan lohem ruach ravias kadesha yivrachu. They gave them a fourth side, so that they could run away. Who does the Rambam paskin like, the Chachamim or Rab Nassan? Like Rab Nassan. Why would the Rambam paskin like Rab Nassan against the Chachamim? So this is what the Torah Tamima is bothered by. That the Kesef Mishnah brings this Sifri as a source for the din of the Rambam. V'hu Pele. V'loi nizbar lama pasuk Rambam k'Rab Nassan neged Chachamim. And what does the Rambam mean? Mipi hashmua lamdu. Where is it Meruma's this shmua? Where did Rab Nassan get this from? That's a general question you could always ask. Okay. So the Torah Tamima suggests that there's a Yerushalmi that when Yeshua was about to enter Eretz Yisrael, he sent 3 messengers with 3 different proclamations. One of them was Mi sharoitza lihipanois levroyach yifneh. Where did Yehoshua get that from? It must be he got it from this pasuk Kasher Tziva Hashem. That's muchach like Rab Nassan, and the Rambam was soymech on this brisa. Comes the Torah Tamima. What's the logic of leaving a fourth side open? The opposite of the svara of the Chacham Tzvi. The Chacham Tzvi svara is it's for the benefit of the attackers, so that we inculcate within ourselves a certain midah of mercy and kindness, and if we corner them in, so then we're really building up animosity and callousness to other people, and by leaving a fourth side open, we preserve a certain humanity. No. Says the Torah Tamima, it's just the opposite. You know why we leave a fourth side open? Because we leave a fourth side open and they always have an opportunity to run away. They won't fight like cats and dogs, and you'll be able to destroy them. But if you corner them in, then now I know why we visited that alligator yesterday in the Everglades. Because when he feels threatened, it's very dangerous. Okay? So you don't ever want the enemy to feel there's no way out. When the enemy feels like that alligator, he's very dangerous. So you want him to feel he always has an opt-out. Once he feels there's an opt-out, here, look at these words. Uvetam ha-pirtza mirach ravias yeshlemer mishum dimloi hinichu lahem Chal Pesach lihimalet hayoloichamim kulam kimisyaashim ad she'eres kachasem. They're going to give it their all. V'haya kasha k'kayvsham l'fneisa. It will be very difficult to conquer. Masha'enkim yesh makom lanos. So whenever there's an opt-out clause, then the war won't be as bitter. So this is a subject. When exactly you allow safe corridor, it's almost impossible to give guidelines. We don't really know what the logic of it is. Is it to engender mercy within us? And then it's going to depend on, well, we can't engender mercy at the expense of our own lives. But if it's some kind of psychological gzeres hakasov that you can never corner them in, otherwise you're never going to win, then, against our better judgment, we'll have to abide by that. And we don't really have clear guidelines regarding this issue. That completes Section 6. Yes, Doctor.
It depends upon the psychological status and nature of the enemy. Because there are going to be different kinds of enemies. Some are going to be who just fight to the tooth, they don't care. And somebody's pain.
Yeah, good point.
Some of them will say, we'll turn ourselves in.
Yeah, that would be fair. That it would be perhaps required to psychoanalyze the thinking process of the enemy to determine how they'll react under those circumstances. So what we would have to do is, like the alligator, test them out. We would have to figure out how they would deal with such a circumstance. Okay, it's now 12:07. We're going to do the final two parts at 12:30.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.